and welcome to Mixed Mediology. Today's video is Vlogoween Day 2. I just have to address this because I know somebody's gonna say something about it. My last 3 videos I've been wearing this outfit, and that's because I've been sitting in this chair recording the intros back to back. So I've already got the content for certain other things recorded, but I had to do the intro, and so I'm just sitting here right now, like within the last hour. This is the 3rd video I've recorded. So yeah, I do change my clothes, just not today. Not for the last 3 videos because I'm recording them all back to back. And there may be more. I may record another video after this. So anyway, today's video is Vlogoween Day 2. And as I said before, I may or may not do Halloween things for the entire month, but I am going to do fall-inspired things for the entire month. So today's video is a quickie homemade recipe. When I make my first pot of chili for the year, fall has begun. Like, as soon as the weather starts to turn just the slightest bit crispy, like as soon as it happens, the first morning that I wake up and there's like even a hint of coolness in the air that I can tell it's not summer anymore, it's transitioning to fall, I make a pot of chili. And that signifies like the start of fall in my house. So it's Sicily. It doesn't turn to fall here at all. However, we've had quite a bit of rain for the last 2 weeks. It's been raining almost every single day for about 2 weeks. And today I went outside and it hadn't started raining yet, but there was like a cool breeze and you could smell the moisture in the air. And I was just like, that's close enough, I'll take it. And so I made a pot of chili today. So what I did was, what I'm going to share with you today is my recipe for my homemade chili and taco seasoning mix. I don't buy those packets of seasoning because it's a chemical shitstorm. Really. That's what they are. I try my best to make homemade as much as I possibly can. So I make my own bread quite often. I make my own seasoning mixes most of the time. I tend not to cook with packaged foods like, you know, boxed macaroni and cheese, stovetop stuffing, you know, those boxed things. I don't use those. I don't cook with those. I don't even buy them. But I make my own versions of all of that stuff. Like I make my own hamburger helper style things. And one of the things that I do make, and I make a lot of it because we eat a lot of, you know, Mexican flavored stuff. So chili mac, tacos, chili, you know, fajitas, whatever. So we go through a lot of chili and taco seasoning. So I have my own blend of chili and taco seasoning. I use them interchangeably. And the great thing about this recipe is that it's super forgiving. It's really tasty. It can be made as spicy or as mild as you want it to be. It can be made as garlicky as you want it to be. You can add more cumin to give it more of a taco flavor, less cumin, more chili powder to give it more of a chili flavor. You can make one, which is what I do, and then tweak as you're cooking. So for example, I make the base recipe, and then when I'm making tacos, I always sprinkle in just an extra little bit of cumin just to give it more of a taco-y flavor and less of a chili flavor. So yeah, that's what I'm doing today, is just sharing with you my homemade chili and taco seasoning recipe. And I'm making a pot of chili today, so I'm also going to show you what I put into my chili and kind of how it cooks, because I do my chili a little bit differently. It's not very thick. I don't know if it's a southern thing or just the way I was taught how to make it, but that's the way we like it. So yeah, come on into my kitchen and I will show you my recipe. Alright, let's try this again. Oh my god. So I just recorded the entire process, or I thought I was recording, but I did not actually hit the fucking record button. So, attempt number 2. You will need 4 tablespoons of chili powder. I do slightly heaping tablespoons. I don't try to make them exact. I don't scrape it off with a knife or anything. I just kind of shake off my spoon in the jar, and whatever's on there is on there. So 4 tablespoons of chili powder. You can use regular chili powder or dark chili powder, whatever you like. I clean my spoon in between seasonings, that way I don't contaminate anything. 2 tablespoons of all-purpose flour. Again, they're not exact. I just kind of shake it, you know, shake it off in the container and then make sure it's close. 2 tablespoons of cumin. Again, not exact, but pretty close. 1 to 2 tablespoons of garlic. This kind of goes on, you know, taste, how garlicky you want it. A heaping tablespoon of onion powder. Or, yeah, just onion powder. It's the garlic. I use granulated garlic, but you could also use garlic powder. I do not recommend garlic salt or onion salt. Make sure you're using garlic and onion powder. 1 tablespoon of granulated sugar. You could reduce the sugar or omit this entirely, depending on your dietary needs. I don't quite fill my measuring spoon, but I do add the sugar just because I think it's a nice balance with the spice. I think it kind of tempers the spice a little bit and brings out the flavor and brings out the saltiness even without a whole lot of salt. So I do add the sugar, but you could totally leave it out or reduce it if you need to. 1 teaspoon of paprika, and I don't add a full teaspoon. I don't particularly care for paprika. You could add up to 2 teaspoons of paprika if you want. It gives it a nice color. It's a nice flavor if you like paprika. I use smoked paprika, but you could use regular. And again, you can add 1 to 2 teaspoons of paprika. 1 teaspoon of black pepper, and I use ground black pepper. No, what's it? The one with the bigger granulated style black pepper. I use the bigger one, but you could use the powdery black pepper as well. 1 teaspoon of salt. Again, you can see I don't quite fill my teaspoon. Again, you could totally leave this out, or you could reduce the amount of salt. It's actually not a whole hell of a lot of salt. Like when you shake this up and you incorporate everything and you're only using 3 tablespoons of the entire mixture, you're not getting a whole hell of a lot of salt. But again, you could reduce or eliminate the salt and then salt to taste as you're cooking. 1 teaspoon crushed red pepper flakes. I don't make my initial mix extremely spicy. My son doesn't really like a lot of spicy food, like too spicy. So I start with 1 teaspoon in the original mix. I can add more to my pot as I'm cooking. You could spice this up a bit by adding either a 2nd teaspoon of the crushed red pepper flakes, or you could add a teaspoon of cayenne pepper. Or if you don't want it spicy, again, reduce these as you see fit. So I just add 1 teaspoon of the crushed red pepper flakes, and that's it. That's not it. We have more ingredients, but I mean, as far as the spice goes, I only add the spiciness of 1 teaspoon of the crushed red pepper. Anyway, okay, so 1 teaspoon of oregano and a heaping teaspoon of parsley. Put the lid on. Look, it's so pretty. Look at all the layers. Oh my god, I love it. Oh my god, I love it. Okay, so now you shake it up. You want to incorporate everything really, really well. You could take the lid off and stir this a little bit to kind of make sure the center has been incorporated. I don't tend to do that. I just shake it really, really well for a good 30 seconds or a minute to make sure it's all really shaken up. And there you go. Homemade taco and chili seasoning. Oh my god. How long has this been on? Perfect. Either I don't fucking turn it on or I don't turn it off. What the hell? Okay, Okay, so I totally wasn't recording again. Jesus. Alrighty then. So what I did was I added 3 heaping tablespoons, and they are heaping like so. I've already got them in the pot, or I would show you again. But 3 heaping tablespoons. And I usually start with 3 heaping tablespoons and then give it 30 minutes or so to cook and let those flavors start to release and incorporate and meld. I taste it, see if it needs more. If it does, I add somewhere between a teaspoon and a tablespoon of the chili seasoning mix, depending on how much I think it needs. I just go strictly by taste, so nothing's really measured. And now I'm gonna add some Texas Pete. Again, I don't make it really spicy to begin with, so I just add a little bit for flavor to begin with, and then I spice up the individual bowls later on. You could use any hot sauce that you like. So let me tell you what's actually in here, since I have already recorded this twice and neither time was actually recording. So this is the 3rd time I'm telling you what the fuck is in this pot. Oh my God. Okay, so I have 1 pound of ground turkey. You know, I brown it with the other ingredients. I do 1 pound of ground turkey, 1 large onion diced, a couple of celery stalks diced, and then I have some frozen bell pepper, and it's red, yellow, and green bell pepper. So a good sized handful of that I diced up. So I brown the ground turkey with the celery, onions, and bell pepper. Once that's all nice and brown, I add in my other ingredients. I add 3 small cans of diced tomatoes. Sometimes I'll do 1 large and 1 small, depending on what I have on hand. And I use the diced tomatoes with no salt added. I normally do 2 cans of dark red kidney beans, 2 cans of light red kidney beans, and a can of black beans. However, my commissary is still having issues, so I can't get all of that, and I use the reduced sodium beans. So I can't get all of that. So today, in this pot of chili, I actually have 2 cans of reduced sodium dark red kidney beans, 1 can of light red kidney beans, and a can of white kidney beans, which I've never added to my tomato chili before. I've had it in, you know, like white chicken chili, but I've never added white kidney beans to my tomato chili before. So yeah, it's 2 cans of dark red, 1 can of light red, and 1 can of white kidney beans. 3 cans of tomatoes, pound of ground turkey, large onion, couple of celery stalks, and a handful of like a huge heaping handful of diced bell pepper. So I've got my 3 heaping tablespoons of the chili seasoning in here. I'm going to give it a little while to cook down, and then I'm going to taste and see if it needs more than that. We like a kind of unique chili because it's a bit more watery than like traditional chili, because traditional chili is thick like this. But I like to simmer my chili all day, so I actually add quite a bit of water here in the beginning. And again, I don't measure anything, I just kind of pour it in until it looks right. And the way I gauge it is whenever I stir it, my spoon usually just runs through. It doesn't feel like it's dragging through. It's not a stewy kind of chili. It's a liquidy kind of chili. So this is going to simmer down, and I'm going to lose a lot of this water as it evaporates, so I'm going to add 1 more glass. Well, probably not the full glass. I'm going to kind of pour it. Yeah, I'll throw it in there. Again, I cook by eyeballing. So, alright, so you can see how thin that is. So I'm going to turn this up, bring it up to a boil, and then I'm going to reduce the heat and let it simmer on medium-low for several hours and let those flavors meld. Okay, my chili's been cooking for about an hour. So, ooh, did I just fog up the camera? So I want to taste it now and see if I need to add any more of the chili seasoning. You can see it's thickened up quite a bit. Well, I don't know if you can see because of the steam. But it's thickened up quite a bit. The flavors have had time to meld. Let's taste it. Okay, so, no, I did not just put that directly in my mouth. I cooled it and edited that part out because it took a long fucking time because it's hot. Yeah, I think it definitely needs one more scoop. So one more heaping tablespoon. And now that should be good. I think I actually want to add a little bit more Texas Pete too. Just to give it a little bit more spice. Not too much. Mostly for flavor. And then we can spice our bowls up after. Cool. So I'm going to let this simmer for another hour or so. And then come back and taste it again. And let you know if it's ready for dinner. Oh my god, okay, so I had to go out unexpectedly, and by the time we got home we were all starving, so I did not record us checking this chili to make sure it was ready. As you can see, there's very little left in here. Dinner was really delicious. And the lighting is shitty now because it's late and there's no sun, and yeah, so the chili turned out really good. The 4 tablespoons of the chili seasoning was exactly what it needed. And I made, let me see if I can get it out. I just broke it, but whatever. Cornbread muffins to go along with it. And that's what we had for dinner. Oh my god. So yeah, I didn't film. I didn't film the end. My plan was, when dinner was ready, I was gonna like serve up a nice bowl and put the cheese in the top and show you the cornbread muffin and like the whole thing put together, right? That so did not happen, because what happened was I ended up having to leave unexpectedly. Christopher, my son, is in the band, and he had a little band thing today. It wasn't like an actual performance, and so I had no intention of being there. And then he calls me like 45 minutes before the performance to say, yeah, you don't need to be here, but we're going to be later than I thought, so you're going to need to come pick me up from school at 5:45 tonight, which is right in the middle of when I would have been filming that segment. So I go pick him up. I had to pick up something else to make the cornbread because I didn't know it, but my husband had used the last of the eggs, so I didn't even have eggs. So then I had to come home and make the cornbread muffins. By the time I was able to eat dinner, I was hangry. I was not in the mood to film, and I was not taking one more second to do anything else other than eat at that time because I was so fucking hungry. And I totally forgot. So that's why there's no end to, there's no pretty bowl to show you. It's just a half empty pot. That's all I got, sorry. But it did taste really good. So I hope you like the homemade taco and chili seasoning mix. Dude, I tried to film it 3 times today. It took me 3 times because I kept filming it and not hitting the record button. And then I just left it recording for literally an hour. I wasn't even in the kitchen. I was upstairs in the studio working, and it was just recording my countertop for an hour. It was kind of creepy, to be honest. So yeah, that was my day today. I hope you like the recipe. I hope you try it out. Tweak it, make it your own. I gave some examples of how you can change it, but like I said, yeah, more cumin for taco, less, or you know, that amount of cumin for chili. It's really interchangeable. It's really forgiving. It's easily tweaked for your own personal taste. Leave out the salt, leave out the sugar, add cayenne pepper, add more paprika, take out some of the garlic. Whatever, it's super forgiving. So if you try it, let me know. And I'm also going to leave the written recipe down below so that you don't have to watch through the whole video. I'll leave the ingredients list down below so you can just look right there and and I don't know, screenshot it or take a picture or whatever. That way you have the recipe. Write it down. That way you have the recipe. Remember, if you like what I do here, don't forget to hit the little subscribe button. That way you don't miss anything. Then share it with your friends. That way they can hang out with us too. You can find me in several different places to hang out. So the links for all that will be below. Clicky, clicky, and come hang out with me in those places as well. Thank you all so much for being here. Today is Vlogoween Day 2. And I will see you tomorrow for Vlogoween Day 3. Thank you so much for being here, and I'll see you next time. Mwah. Bye!